Pain is not your punishment. It is your preparation. When the world breaks you, it is not ending your story. It is shaping your soul for the next chapter. Napoleon Hill believed that inside every hardship, there hides a seed of benefit, a silent key that can open the door to greatness, but most people never look for it. They give up. They surrender when life pushes them. But those who pause, reflect, and fight back transform pain into raw power. The truth is, no one rises without falling first. No one becomes great without being tested. When the fire of pain burns everything you have, it also burns away your weakness. It leaves behind the real you, the strong, unbreakable version that success requires. Every sleepless night, every tear, every rejection is not a sign of failure. It is the universe training your spirit. Success is never born in comfort. It grows in struggle. Your pain is your mentor, and if you learn from it, it will lead you where comfort never could. This is the law of transmutation. Napoleon Hill called it the secret alchemy of success, the ability to turn defeat into energy, fear into courage, and doubt into drive. Those who master this law rise, while others fade because they learn to use pain as fuel and transform wounds into wisdom. The real winners in life do not escape pain. They embrace it. They walk through it. They understand that life is not meant to be easy. It is meant to be meaningful. Your dreams will demand sacrifice. Your growth will demand patience, and your greatness will demand pain. But the moment you accept this truth, you become unstoppable. Napoleon Hill once said, "Every setback is a setup for a comeback, and that comeback begins the day you decide that your pain will no longer control you. It will empower you. Your past is not your prison. It is your preparation." So remember this: your story is not defined by what hurt you, but by how you healed. Your strength is not measured by how much you avoid pain, but by how you turn it into purpose. Every scar you carry is proof that you survived, and that survival is your greatest power. Do not hide from your pain. Let it teach you. Let it build you. Let it make you the person you were always meant to be, because pain is temporary, but power is eternal. Every person walking this earth carries within them a story of struggle moments when life felt too heavy, too unfair, too painful to endure. There are nights when you lie awake and wonder why everything is falling apart, when you have given all that you could and still the results slip through your fingers. You begin to question your worth, your destiny, your purpose. You ask, why does this happen to me? And in that darkness, you feel small, you feel forgotten. But what if the truth is that this pain is not destroying you? It is shaping you. Napoleon Hill believed that pain is never wasted, that within every difficulty there is a hidden seed of greatness, a lesson, a strength that can only be born in fire. Life will test you in ways that seem cruel, but those tests are not there to break you. They are there to reveal you. They peel away the layers of fear, laziness, and doubt, until only your true power remains. Every wound you carry holds wisdom. Every tear has a message. When you look back at the hardest moments of your life, you begin to see that those moments built something inside you, something you could not have gained any other way. When life stripped you of comfort, it gifted you with courage. When it took away your plans, it gave you purpose. When it left you alone, it taught you how to stand on your own. Those lessons were hidden at first, because pain does not come with clear answers. It comes with silence, with confusion, with questions that shake your soul. But inside that silence, the mind begins to awaken. It begins to grow stronger, because pain forces you to listen to the part of yourself that is still alive, still fighting, still dreaming, even when the world says you cannot win. Napoleon Hill wrote that adversity carries the seed of an equal or greater benefit, but that seed does not grow by itself. It needs your will. It needs your faith. It needs your decision to rise above the situation instead of sinking into it. Imagine a seed buried deep underground. It cannot see the sun. It is surrounded by darkness and weight, but still it pushes upward. It does not fight the soil. It uses it. Every bit of pressure becomes fuel for growth. That is what pain does to the human spirit. It buries you so that you can grow. It surrounds you with difficulty so that you can push through and reach the light. You cannot find your true potential until you are tested. You cannot discover your courage until you are afraid, and you cannot understand power until you have felt powerless. When Hill studied the most successful people of his time, he found a common pattern. None of them escaped pain. They experienced loss, failure, betrayal, poverty, and doubt. But each of them made a choice. They refused to let pain define their story. Instead, they used it as the foundation of their strength. Henry Ford failed countless times before building his empire. Thomas Edison faced thousands of experiments that did not work. But he said every failure brought him closer to success. These men were not lucky. They were trained by adversity. They learned how to extract value from struggle. They understood the hidden law that the same fire that burns also purifies. When you stop cursing your pain and start studying it, you begin to see what it is trying to teach you. Your pain is trying to make you aware of something. It is trying to awaken the power you forgot you had. It is calling you to grow beyond your limits. Every setback you face is life, asking you, who are you going to become because of this? The moment you answer that question with strength, your transformation begins. Do not run from pain. Observe it, understand it, turn it into your teacher if you lost someone. Learn compassion if you failed. Learn patience if you were rejected. Learn resilience. The lesson is always there, but most people close their eyes to it. They drown in their sorrow instead of searching for meaning. But those who dare to open their eyes in the middle of the storm begin to see the hidden gift. There is a quiet magic that happens when you stop asking why and start asking, what is this trying to teach me? That single shift in perspective turns pain into wisdom and wisdom into power. The very thing that once made you cry can later make you unshakable. Every scar becomes a symbol of survival. Every fall becomes a foundation for rise. Napoleon Hill knew that the mind can convert anything into growth if directed properly. Your pain can be turned into passion, your suffering into service, your failure into focus. The energy of pain is powerful, but it must be directed with purpose. When you take control of that energy, you become unstoppable. You become someone who does not fear loss or struggle because you understand that everything is a lesson designed to elevate you, not end you. There will come a time when the pain feels unbearable, when you cannot see the light, and in that moment, remember that your heart is being reshaped for something greater. Your capacity to love, to lead, to inspire is being expanded through the very experiences that hurt the most. What feels like destruction is often preparation for a life that demands more strength, more depth, more wisdom, and more heart. This is the hidden gift inside every pain. It is the silent transformation happening beneath the surface. It is the making of the person you were always meant to be. Every human heart craves comfort, but comfort is the enemy of growth. Every time life becomes difficult, the first instinct is to escape, to look for an easier path, to search for something that takes away the weight. But the truth Napoleon Hill discovered is that escaping struggle never builds character. It weakens it. The moment you decide to embrace your struggle, you begin to rewrite the rules of your life, because no man or woman who ever achieved greatness did so in comfort. They achieved it through the battle of their own limits. The pain of rejection, the exhaustion of persistence, and the courage to keep going when their mind screamed, stop. Napoleon Hill spent years studying the most successful minds of his time, and he found that every one of them had moments of despair, moments when nothing made sense. Yet those who accepted struggle as a necessary teacher found power that others could not imagine. They stopped asking for the road to be easier and started asking for themselves to be stronger. Struggle is the process by which life removes the weakness that holds you back. It strips away the illusions you carry about success and exposes the truth that the price of any dream is pain, discomfort, and sacrifice. You cannot become great while seeking ease, because ease protects your fears. Struggle reveals them and teaches you how to conquer them. When you embrace struggle, something changes within your spirit. Your thoughts shift from asking why this is happening to me to what can I learn from this. Every challenge becomes a lesson. Every obstacle becomes an opportunity to grow stronger mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Your struggles are shaping your endurance. They are refining your focus and hardening your determination. Hill wrote that persistence is to character what carbon is to steel. The heat of struggle is what turns ordinary willpower into unbreakable strength. Just as fire transforms raw metal into something unyielding, the struggle of life transforms your soul into something powerful and unstoppable. Think of the seed buried deep in the soil. It cannot grow without pressure, without darkness, without struggle. If the seed refuses the weight above it, it will never break open and rise to the light. In the same way, your dreams are buried inside you, waiting for the pressure of life to awaken them without struggle. They remain asleep, potential without purpose, energy without direction. Struggle wakes them. It cracks the shell of fear that surrounds your heart and forces you to grow beyond what you thought possible. The pain of the process is the proof that transformation is happening, because you cannot become someone new while holding on to the comfort of who you were. When Hill spoke of definite purpose, he was talking about more than goals. He was talking about a mindset that embraces struggle as part of the plan to reach greatness. When your purpose is clear, every hardship becomes meaningful. Every obstacle becomes a signal pointing you toward a lesson that will serve your higher path. Those who complain about struggle waste their energy, but those who embrace it harness that same energy and use it to move forward, stronger, more focused, and more alive. Every difficulty becomes a tool. Every setback becomes a teacher. Look at the mountains. They are not formed in silence. They are born from pressure, from collisions, from struggle. The beauty you see is the result of resistance. The same principle applies to your life. The most beautiful version of you will not be created through comfort. It will be born through the storms you endure when you stop escaping struggle and start walking through it. Your fear begins to fade, your confidence grows, and your mind expands. You begin to realize that pain does not last forever, but the lessons it gives you stay with you for life. The discipline, the patience, the focus, the inner peace. These are not learned in calm moments. They are forged in the middle of the storm. Most people waste their pain because they keep running from it. They distract themselves. They numb their emotions. They seek temporary relief, but the pain remains because it was never meant to be avoided. It was meant to be understood. You are not meant to run away from your challenges. You are meant to face them and let them shape you into the person capable of holding the success you desire. Napoleon Hill believed that every struggle prepares you for the blessings you ask for, but if you avoid the preparation, you will never be ready to receive what you dream of. The process of struggle is the training ground of destiny. When everything in you wants to quit, that is the exact moment you must stay. When the world feels heavy and you cannot see progress, that is when faith begins its work. Embracing struggle does not mean enjoying pain. It means understanding that the pain has a purpose. It means trusting that every obstacle is carving strength into your soul. Every challenge is building the foundation of your future success. The longer you resist, the longer the lesson lasts. But the moment you embrace it, you begin to grow faster because you are no longer fighting against life. You are flowing with it. Hill taught that life will always test those who desire more, because success must be earned through resilience, through patience, and through unshakable belief in yourself. So when the nights are long and your path is uncertain, remember that you are not being punished. You are being prepared. The pressure you feel is the evidence that you are growing. The discomfort you face is the signal that you are alive and moving towards something greater. Embrace the struggle because it is the path that leads you to power and purpose. It is the bridge between who you are and who you were meant to become. There is a power hidden inside emotional pain, a raw, untamed energy that can destroy you or create you depending on how you use it. Most people let their pain control them. They drown in memories. They replay every failure, every heartbreak, every loss until they begin to believe that life has nothing left for them. But Napoleon Hill understood something different. He saw that emotional pain is energy in motion, and energy can always be redirected. The same fire that burns can light your path if you learn to use it correctly. Every tear, every heartbreak, every betrayal carries a massive amount of emotional power. And that power can be transformed into creation, into progress, into vision, into strength, but only if you make the choice to channel it instead of suppressing it. When you suppress pain, it does not disappear, it grows inside you. It poisons your thoughts, it weakens your focus, and it blinds your vision. But when you transform it, when you turn that same pain into determination, it becomes fueled, it becomes drive, it becomes the force that pushes you to achieve things you once thought impossible. Napoleon Hill taught that emotion is the strongest form of human energy. It is what fuels desire, and desire is the foundation of all success. Without desire, nothing moves. Without emotion, nothing grows. When you connect your pain to a purpose, you give it direction, and once it has direction, it can no longer destroy you. It begins to serve you. Think about every time you were told you were not good enough. Every time someone walked away, every time the world ignored your effort, that pain built inside you, like pressure building inside a volcano. You can let it explode in anger and regret, or you can use it to power your rise. Emotional pain carries more energy than motivation. It is pure raw fire. And if you focus that energy towards something meaningful, your actions become unstoppable. Your discipline becomes natural. Your hunger for growth becomes limitless, because now you are no longer running from something, you are running towards something. You have turned your emotional storm into a wind that moves you forward. Napoleon Hill believed that negative emotions can be transmuted into positive force. The law of mental chemistry says that no emotion is wasted if it is properly directed. Fear can become courage, anger can become passion. Sadness can become empathy, and loss can become inspiration. But the first step is awareness. You must become aware of what you feel. You must allow yourself to experience it without drowning in it. Pain only destroys when it remains unconscious, but the moment you bring it into light, it loses control over you. It becomes something. You can shape something. You can use something. You can command. Every great inventor, every artist, every leader who changed history knew this secret. They turned their emotional pain into something powerful when they were rejected. They created. When they were doubted, they worked harder. When they were heartbroken, they built their legacy. That emotional energy became their masterpiece. Napoleon Hill wrote that the human mind is like a magnet. It attracts what it thinks about most, and the intensity of emotion gives power to that attraction. So if your mind is filled with pain, you can either attract more pain, or you can transform that intensity into purpose and attract progress. Every time you focus on your pain and say, I will turn this into my strength, you begin to reshape your destiny one thought at a time. Imagine a person who loses everything: their job, their relationships, their confidence. They have two choices. They can give up and let the pain consume them, or they can stand up and say, this will not be the end. This will be the beginning. That single decision changes everything, because now the energy of pain becomes energy of persistence. It becomes a burning force that says, I will prove to myself that I am stronger than this moment. Hill called this emotional transmutation, the process of turning pain into power and power into progress. It begins the moment you stop asking why this happened to you and start asking, what can I do with this? Every emotional wound you carry holds potential energy, like a battery waiting to be used. The deeper the wound, the greater the energy trapped within it. When you use that energy to create, to serve, to inspire, you free yourself from the control of pain, and you turn suffering into strength. That is why people who have endured great pain often become the most compassionate, the most determined, the most creative souls. They know what it means to hurt, and they refuse to let others feel the same. They transform their emotional pain into productive action, and through that transformation, they become unbreakable. There will be days when the weight of your emotions feels impossible, when you cannot think clearly or see the way ahead. But those are the moments when you must remind yourself that every ounce of pain is potential power, waiting to be converted. When you go to work, when you build, when you study, when you move forward. Despite the pain, you are transforming it. You are using its energy to rewrite your story, and each step you take weakens its grip on you. That is the hidden secret of greatness that Napoleon Hill taught. Pain is never the enemy. It is the energy you have not yet learned to direct. Once you do, your emotions stop controlling you and start empowering you. They become your allies, your motivation, your fire, and that fire will carry you farther than any comfort ever could. Every soul that has ever risen from the ashes of defeat has unknowingly obeyed one of the most powerful laws that Napoleon Hill ever discovered, the law of transmutation. It is the invisible principle that allows human beings to take the very energy of failure, pain, and rejection and transform it into power, purpose, and persistence. Hill called this the secret alchemy of success, because like a master chemist, the mind can take negative experiences and refine them into strength and understanding. But most people never learn this art. They see defeat as the end instead of the beginning. They allow the ashes of their dreams to bury them instead of planting new seeds within them. Defeat is never final until you accept it. As such, every failure carries the potential to become fuel for the next attempt. When life closes one door, it is testing your ability to find another. Hill wrote that temporary defeat is a signal not of loss, but of opportunity. It is life's way of clearing your path of what no longer serves your purpose. When you are defeated, you are being reshaped. You are being reminded that your current method, your current thinking, your current effort is not enough for the level you seek. So life sends you back to the forge to be refined, to learn, to grow, and to come back stronger. Each defeat becomes a classroom. Each setback, a teacher. Each mistake, a sculptor shaping the masterpiece within you. When a person learns to see defeat differently, they stop fearing it because they realize that failure is not the opposite of success. It is a part of it. There is no success without defeat, because it is only through failure that we discover the limits of our understanding and the potential of our spirit. Hill studied hundreds of great achievers and found that each had faced devastating losses before triumphing. The common factor was that none of them surrendered. They turned their frustration into focus, their humiliation into hunger, their loss into lesson. That is the process of transmutation. It is the moment when pain shifts into passion, when despair turns into determination, and when rejection becomes redirection. Defeat provides the raw material of wisdom. It reveals what does not work. It strips away arrogance. It humbles the ego and opens the mind to learning and growth. People who avoid defeat avoid development because they never allow life to test and strengthen them. But those who walk through failure with open eyes find treasure in the rubble. They find clues. They find clarity. They find a deeper understanding of themselves. Hill wrote that every adversity, every failure, every heartache carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. But it is up to the individual to nurture that seed through persistence, faith, and vision. When you face defeat, your emotions become heavy. You feel like the world is collapsing around you. But within that emotional chaos, there is immense energy waiting to be redirected. That energy can destroy you if left uncontrolled, or it can elevate you. If guided by purpose, think of defeat as pressure building inside your soul. That pressure is powerful, but it needs direction. If you channel it into your goals, into your growth, into your focus, it will propel you forward faster than any success ever could. Success breeds comfort, but defeat breeds hunger, and hunger is the foundation of greatness. Napoleon Hill taught that success often hides within the very thing that once seemed like the worst possible failure. The mind that learns to look beyond the pain begins to see the opportunity hiding in plain sight. When Thomas Edison failed again and again in his experiments, he was not defeated, he was being refined. He famously said, "I have not failed. I have found 10,000 ways that will not work." That is the perfect expression of the law of transmutation. He turned what most people would call failure into information, into experience, into strategy. Each attempt became a lesson. Each setback became a step. When Hill observed such patterns, he realized that the human spirit is designed to convert defeat into advancement, but it requires the right mental attitude. You must refuse to view failure emotionally and start viewing it scientifically, as data, as feedback, as instruction. Defeat also purifies your vision. When you win easily, you may never truly understand the value of your achievement. But when you fall and rise again, you gain perspective. You develop gratitude, humility, and awareness of the process. These are the qualities that sustain long-term success. Without them, Success becomes hollow. The struggle gives meaning to the triumph. The fall gives weight to the climb. The pain gives flavor to the victory. So when life knocks you down, it is actually giving you something priceless, the wisdom that can only be gained through direct experience. Napoleon Hill taught that the law of transmutation operates automatically for those who develop a positive mental attitude. A positive mind does not deny defeat, but it refuses to be defined by it. It asks, what now instead of why me? It looks for lessons instead of loss. It focuses on the seed of benefit rather than the shadow of pain. And as that mindset grows stronger, defeat begins to lose its power over you because you no longer see it as failure, you see it as feedback. The moment you interpret defeat correctly, it transforms instantly from a burden into a blessing. There is something deeply powerful about refusing to quit when everything inside you says, give up. That single act of persistence activates the law of transmutation. It turns hopelessness into faith, faith into focus, and focus into results. Your energy shifts from resistance to resilience, and you begin to feel an invisible force working with you rather than against you. The universe starts to align circumstances, people, and opportunities to reward your persistence. Hill wrote that success is the child of persistence and faith, and that defeat is the womb where these two are born. Without defeat, you would never discover how deep your strength truly runs. So when defeat visits, you do not curse it. Sit with it, study it, learn from it, and then rise again stronger than before, because every moment of loss, every shattered dream, every disappointment is not the end. It is raw material waiting for your mind to shape it into power and progress. It is your personal forge where weakness is melted and greatness is formed. It is the unseen law of transmutation working silently behind the pain, turning defeat into fuel and shaping the destiny that was meant for you all along. Faith is the invisible bridge that carries you across the darkest valleys when your strength is gone and your path is hidden. Napoleon Hill believed that faith is the foundation of all achievement because it allows the mind to hold on to vision even when reality offers no reason to believe. It is easy to have faith when life is gentle and rewards come quickly. But true faith is forged in pain and confusion, in the moments when you stand alone and nothing makes sense. That is when faith becomes real. That is when it becomes power. Hill wrote that faith is a state of mind that can be induced through repetition and affirmation. And when it is mixed with emotion, it becomes a magnetic force that draws everything you desire closer to you. Pain tests that faith. It asks, do you truly believe when there is no proof? Do you trust the process when every step feels like failure? Pain strips away illusions. It shows you who you really are. It reveals whether your belief is shallow or deep. Most people believe in their dream only when it is convenient, when everything flows easily. But the moment the storm comes, their faith breaks and they start doubting everything they once wanted. The difference between those who succeed and those who fall is that the successful ones believe even when life gives them no reason to. They believe when others laugh, when others walk away, when everything around them crumbles. Napoleon Hill studied men who built empires from nothing, and he found that each of them carried a deep, unshakable faith, not just in a higher power, but in themselves, in their vision, and in the laws of the universe. They understood that thought backed by faith becomes an unstoppable force. Faith in the midst of pain is not blind optimism. It is spiritual strength. It is the quiet whisper inside you that says, keep moving forward, even when you cannot see the destination. It is the choice to believe that there is meaning behind your suffering, that there is growth hidden in your loss, and that every tear you shed is watering the soil of your future greatness. Hill believed that faith transforms the vibration of fear into the frequency of creation. Fear paralyzes, but faith mobilizes when fear tells you to quit. Faith tells you to endure when fear whispers that you are alone. Faith reminds you that every challenge is a step toward your destiny, and that no effort guided by purpose is ever wasted. When pain hits, it attacks your mind first. It fills you with doubt and hopelessness. It convinces you that your dreams are impossible, that your best days are behind you. But faith speaks a different language. It looks beyond the visible. It sees potential where others see destruction. Hill wrote that whatever the mind can conceive and believe it can achieve. But the key is belief. Belief that is rooted in faith, not in evidence. Faith does not wait for results. It creates them through persistence and vision. It says, I may not have the answer now, but I know there is one, and I will find it. This mindset changes everything, because when you move with faith, you begin to attract solutions, ideas, and opportunities that fear would have hidden from you. Think of a person standing in the middle of their worst moment. Perhaps they have lost everything and see no way forward, yet in that same darkness, if they hold even a single spark of faith, that spark can light a new path. Faith is the ability to act before the miracle arrives. It is trusting that the unseen forces of life are working for you, not against you. Hill explained that faith acts as a bridge between the conscious and subconscious mind. Once a thought is believed with emotion, the subconscious begins to translate that belief into its physical equivalent through persistence, intuition, and action. Faith activates that hidden mechanism. It turns hope into certainty and uncertainty into courage. Pain will always try to make you doubt yourself. It will whisper that you are not capable, that you have failed too many times, that the dream is too far away. But faith silences that voice. It says, I have fallen before, and I have risen before. I will rise again. Faith is not the absence of pain. It is the strength to keep walking through it, knowing that every step forward is rewriting your story. Hill said that faith is the element that converts ordinary thought into spiritual power, and that power creates miracles for those who refuse to give up. When you practice faith in the face of pain, you awaken that creative force within you, the same force that turns invisible ideas into visible realities. The mind trained in faith does not panic in chaos. It remains centered, calm, focused, because it knows that appearances are temporary and truth is eternal. The person who builds faith learns to look at pain as part of the process, not as punishment, but as preparation. They begin to see that every challenge has come to make them stronger, wiser, more disciplined, and more capable of carrying the weight of success. Faith gives meaning to suffering. It transforms confusion into clarity. It transforms weakness into willpower, because when you truly believe in the value of your journey, no hardship can defeat you. It might delay you, it might exhaust you, but it cannot destroy you. Napoleon Hill often said that faith mixed with purpose and persistence is the formula for miracles, and that pain is the test that determines whether that faith is real. When you are pushed beyond your limit, when everything is silent and you still whisper, I believe, that is the moment the universe begins to shift for you. Life responds to conviction. It rewards belief, not doubt. And those who keep believing in the middle of pain eventually see the reward that others only dream of. Hill taught that faith must be practiced daily. It must be fed through gratitude, through affirmations, through visualization, because faith grows when you nurture it and weakens when you ignore it. When pain surrounds you and you feel like there is no way out, remember that faith is not something you need to find. It is something you need to activate. It already exists within you. It is the quiet strength that kept you alive through every previous storm. It is the force that made you rise every time you were knocked down, and it will carry you again. Faith transforms pain because it gives it purpose. And when pain has purpose, it no longer feels like punishment. It feels like progress. The greatest power you have is not the absence of fear or pain. It is the ability to believe in something greater while you walk through them. That is the essence of faith in the midst of pain, the same faith that Napoleon Hill called the master key to all success, the force that turns unseen dreams into unstoppable realities. Napoleon Hill believed that pain is not merely something to be endured, but something to be transformed. He saw it as a raw and powerful form of energy that, if properly directed, can become the driving force behind creation, achievement, and greatness. Most people use their energy to resist pain, to escape it, to numb it. But Hill discovered that the most successful men and women in history did the opposite. They used their suffering as fuel. They converted their heartbreak, failures, and disappointments into creative energy that propelled them beyond ordinary limits. Pain, by its nature, demands attention. It fills the mind with emotion, with intensity. And when that emotion is guided instead of suppressed, it becomes a source of genius. Pain is energy trapped in emotion. It can destroy you if left unmanaged, or it can build you if redirected. Think about how great inventions, art, books, and empires were born. They were rarely born in moments of comfort. They were born in moments of desperation, loss, and struggle. Hill said that every adversity carries within it the seed of an equivalent or greater benefit, and that seed is potential energy. It is the creative power that can only be unlocked when you face your pain consciously instead of running from it. When a person channels their pain, they stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, "What now?" They take the same energy that could have become bitterness and turn it into action, creation, or service. This shift transforms suffering into purpose, and purpose transforms weakness into strength. Napoleon Hill studied men who had gone through intense suffering, and he found a common pattern. They all experienced a moment when their pain forced them to make a choice to either surrender or create, to either break down or build something new. Thomas Edison lost countless experiments and faced financial ruin, yet he kept using the lessons of failure to refine his inventions. Henry Ford went bankrupt several times before building his empire. Abraham Lincoln suffered depression and defeat, yet turned that deep emotional pain into empathy and leadership. Their secret was not avoidance, it was transformation. They used their inner turmoil as a forge for innovation. When pain is not wasted, it becomes wisdom. And when wisdom is combined with imagination, it becomes creation. The key lies in emotional alchemy, the ability to convert negative emotions into positive momentum. Hill believed that thoughts combined with emotion create vibration, and vibration attracts corresponding results. When you are in pain, your emotional vibration is high. It is intense. It is alive. If you attach that vibration to vision instead of fear, you amplify its power. Instead of allowing pain to paralyze you, you allow it to energize you. The creative mind thrives on intensity. When you redirect the emotional charge of pain toward building something new, you awaken parts of your mind that were dormant in comfort. This is why many of the most profound works of art, music, and literature are born from suffering. Pain opens channels of creativity that pleasure rarely does, because it forces you to feel deeply, and depth is the birthplace of genius. Pain also sharpens awareness. It strips away distraction. It makes you pay attention to what truly matters. When you are hurt, you see truth more clearly. Illusions fade away. You recognize what you value, what you have lost, what you must protect or pursue. Hill wrote that every person is capable of transmuting their emotions into constructive outlets through the power of thought. This means that pain can become poetry, struggle can become strategy, and heartbreak can become healing for others. When you use your pain to create, you reclaim control. You no longer see yourself as a victim, but as an architect. You use what was meant to break you as material to build something new. Transformation through pain requires discipline. It is not automatic. It demands that you sit with your emotions long enough to understand them, to extract their lesson. Hill believed that the subconscious mind is most receptive when emotion is strongest, which means that moments of deep pain are also moments of immense creative potential. What you focus on during those times shapes your future. If you focus on fear and resentment, you program failure into your subconscious. If you focus on vision and growth, you program success. This is why Hill emphasized autosuggestion and visualization, because by consciously directing thought during emotional intensity, you can rewire your subconscious and turn emotional chaos into creative order. Pain gives birth to new desires. Every time you suffer, you awaken a new hunger within you, a hunger for peace, for purpose, for success, or for meaning. This hunger, if nurtured, becomes ambition, the kind that moves mountains. Hill said that every great achievement begins with a burning desire, and pain is often the fire that lights that desire. Pain reminds you that you want more from life, that you refuse to settle, that you are still alive. It ignites the soul with urgency, and urgency is one of the most powerful forces in creation. When properly focused, it drives you to act without hesitation, without procrastination. It pushes you to become more because you have felt what it means to have less. Napoleon Hill also believed that creative energy born from pain must be expressed through service, because the highest form of transformation is turning personal suffering into something that benefits others. When you channel your pain into helping people heal, inspire, or grow, you transcend your suffering. You make it sacred instead of wasted. The world's greatest leaders, artists, and teachers did not just overcome pain, they shared its lessons, they turned their wounds into wisdom and their scars into strength. Hill called this process the divine art of transmutation, taking what once weakened you and turning it into light for others. That light not only heals the world, it also heals you because service transforms self-pity into purpose. The transformation of pain into creative energy also expands consciousness. It breaks the boundaries of the ego and makes you aware of your deeper self, the self that is resilient, infinite, and capable of creating from nothing. Hill understood that when pain humbles the ego, it awakens the spirit, and from that awakening comes inspiration, the kind that does not fade. It gives you a vision that is bigger than your suffering, a purpose that makes endurance meaningful every time you use your pain to create you. Step into partnership with the creative intelligence of the universe. You turn chaos into order, darkness into light, and struggle into strength. Pain becomes no longer something to escape, but something to sculpt, something to master. Napoleon Hill's philosophy teaches that pain itself is not the enemy. Resistance is the enemy. When you stop resisting and start redirecting, you reclaim your power. Instead of being consumed by your emotions, you consume them. You digest their energy and turn it into creation. This is how mountains are moved, not by comfort, but by courage, not by avoiding pain, but by transforming it into art invention. And Impact Hill's hidden secret to greatness lies in this transformation. The realization that pain is not the end of creation, it is the beginning. It is the spark that awakens genius, the force that shapes character, and the energy that powers the dreams that change the world.